enzymes. So enzymes are nothing but they are the catalysts that speeds up the reaction. And they are mainly made up of proteins. Means you can say that all the enzymes are proteins, but all proteins are not enzymes. So whenever they are catalyzing a particular reaction, that is chemical reaction, they themselves will not become changed, okay, or they are not used up in the reaction. So once they finish their work, then again they will just dismantle themselves, and again when the next reaction starts up, they join together. Okay, so that is how they actually work. So the third property of the enzyme I can write as what? They will take part in the chemical reaction, no doubt, but they will not be used up in the reaction, you can say. Without getting used up in reaction. So these are what the main three properties of enzymes. So hence, because they carry out most probably the biological reactions, they are also called as biological catalysts. So the reason why they are called as biological catalysts is they are made in living cell. So because they are made in the living cell only, they are able to catalyze that particular reactions. So these things are very, very important so that they can maintain the speed of the reaction, whatever they are taking place. And that reactions are mainly called as what? Metabolic reactions. So to find out that how does this enzyme actually work, okay, so it's based on a particular theory which is also called as lock and key hypothesis. So let's see what is this lock and key hypothesis or theory. So first let me consider a diagram, okay, a simple diagram. So I'll just consider the first one as enzyme, which is also having an active site. And the second one is substrate. So what happens over here in the lock and key theory is the active site of the enzyme, okay, it should match with that of the substrate. Means whatever this shape we can see over here, this should be exactly similar with that of the substrate. Then only that enzyme can fit into the substrate the same way as the lock, as the key fits into a lock. Okay, so if you can see over here, almost they are same only. So after reacting, what will happen is this is E plus S, which is enzyme plus substrate, which is going to form what? ES complex. So once this complex is formed, it will give you enzyme plus substrate, whatever product is there generated from that carried reaction. So here how the diagram will come is simple. Okay, so this is called as what? ES complex. So once whatever reaction they are conducting is over, you will get what? Separate enzyme as well as a product. So this is in short about what? Lock and key theory. So when the enzymes has to work, there are certain factors which may also affect it. For example, if we see in this diagram, consider that the substrate shape which is there, it's somewhat different. Like now we know that the enzyme is this shape, okay? But if suppose the substrate shape is say like this, then obviously the enzyme is not going to fit into that particular substrate because the key is not suitable for that particular lock. Okay, so this is the first factor which may be affecting the thing, because as I told you, whatever the shapes which are there, it should be complementary to that of the substrate, then only the catalysis reaction will take place. If it is like this complex will not be formed and you will not get a product. Okay, so this is in short about what the reaction, how it takes place. Now let's see what are certain factors which may affect this working or catalysis of the enzyme. So mainly you can say that there are two important things or factors which may affect the working of the enzyme, out of which the first one is temperature and other one is what? pH. So let's see the effect of factors on enzymes. So first one is effect of temperature. So in order for the enzyme to work, there must be an optimum temperature which is to be provided to the same. Okay. So first characteristic is for the enzyme to work is what? They should have an optimum temperature. For example, if we consider human beings, the normal temperature of the human beings is 37 degrees. So when it decreases or increases, obviously there will be effect on the human body. Same is that with that of the enzymes as well. So an optimum temperature should be provided to the enzyme, then only the enzymes will work. Like example, I already told you 37 degrees Celsius in case of animals. Basically what happens over here is, if the temperature increases, suppose, okay, so when it increases, what will happen is, whatever molecules will be there, they will move faster, and hence whatever the joining of this molecules means what? It will be the substrate. Okay, so because there is an increase in the temperature, what is going to happen is this molecules will move in a faster rate. Okay, and they will collide with an enzyme in less time. Okay, so because they are moving faster means what we can consider over here is, they are having high amount of energy. Having high energy. Because of this high energy only, they will bind fast with the active site. Bind to active site. But what happens is, when they are moving like this or when they are colliding, okay, there is a kind of vibration which occurs within these molecules. Okay, so because of this vibration, there are high chances of the enzyme to get denatured. So when there is a increased temperature, the molecules vibrate. That also very vigorous chances of vibration are there. So because of this thing, what will happen is, the enzyme denatures. And if an enzyme denatures means what is happening? It will lose its shape and will be not available to the substrate for binding. This is what happens when the temperature is increased. But what will happen if the temperature decreases? So if temperature decreases, or you can say if it is low, then there will be no sufficient movement taking place, or there will be no sufficient what? Enough of kinetic energy. So if there is no sufficient kinetic energy means what? The moving energy for moving of that molecule so that it can reach to the enzyme for the binding site. But if that energy is only very low, then what will happen is the reaction taking place will be very slow. Reaction will be slow. So these are what? The effect of temperature if it goes below the optimum temperature as well as above the optimum temperature. Next one is the effect of pH. On the enzymes. Now see, these enzymes are highly sensitive to pH. Okay, means as you know that there are three types of pH which you can see. So one is the high, means you can say acidic. Okay, then neutral and basic. That is 1 to 7, 7 and 7 to 40 respectively. Okay, so because these enzymes are very sensitive to the pH or the change in pH. So you cannot say that on which pH actually the enzyme works. But obviously there is one point always, like how the enzyme works in an optimum temperature. Same way, if you provide an optimum pH, the enzymes are going to work their best. Okay, so here the first thing will be what? Enzymes work best at their optimum pH. But some enzymes can also work well at what? Acidic or either basic pH. So it will depend upon which body or in which cell is the enzyme being worked out. Okay, but considerably the main point is what? Optimum pH is suitable for the working of the enzyme. So for example, if there is any change in the pH, for example from the optimum pH, if there is any change, then it will lead to what? Denaturation. So if pH is changed, it will denature the enzyme. So denaturation of the enzyme means you know that it's no longer available to the substrate. Hence no reaction. So this is what the overall effect of pH. Now if you consider these two factors, there is a graph for the same. So first one is the effect of temperature and second one is say for the pH. Okay, so obviously the down part will be temperature. Here the pH and here it will be the rate of enzyme activity. So let's first see the effect of temperature graph. So here the graph goes on increasing at one point and then again it decreases. So here you can see, I'll just show it with a dotted line. So this peak, whatever it is there, it's called as what? Optimum temperature. So the before and after one will be what? High temperature and low temperature. So this is how the graph appears in case of what? Effect of temperature on the enzyme. Second graph is the pH. So this will be again the optimum pH, acidic pH and basic pH. So these are the two types of graphs which you can observe. Okay, so in this actually it just stops over here. Yeah, so this is how both the graphs look like. For the means this is the graph which predicts or shows up what the changes in the enzyme activity with respect to the two factors. One is the temperature, another one is the pH. So now why is this enzymes very important? Is because I already told you that enzymes are very important because first thing is you can say that they're used in the food, some of the food industries. Like for example, if I take a particular enzyme, say pectinase. Pectinase is very important. Okay, so as to if a particular food industry is producing juices, so juices meaning fruit. Okay, so fruit wall contains something which is called as pectin. So it's very necessary to remove or clarify the juice by splitting up this pectin using the enzyme pectinase. Okay, so whatever the fruit wall which is there, it will contain what? Fruit cell wall. Cell wall of the fruit. It contains pectin. So whenever you're abstracting the juice from the particular fruit, the juice tends to be turbid, cloudy. So obviously it is not acceptable by the consumers. So what happens is they use this enzyme pectinase so that whatever the viscosity or the cloudiness which is there, that will be reduced for the same. So this basically lowers the viscosity and reduces the cloudiness, hence increasing the yield. Like this only there are many enzymes, for example lipase for the breakdown of fats. In the same way isomerase. Isomerase basically converts the glucose to fructose. Okay, so these are some examples wherein the enzymes have their own uses.